Welcome to my guide to Atomic Habits for Devs. This video will be all about habits and how to destroy bad habits and replace them with good ones as a developer. Before we get into the actual guide, who is this video's intended audience? Well, this video is intended for people looking to be or already are in the programming space. If you are this person, like, subscribe, and comment any feedback you have. This video is not for the person who wants to act productive by watching self-improvement videos. This video is solely for educational purposes and everything I say should be taken with a grain of salt. And by the way, if you are interested, I do have extra content in the description of the video. With that out of the way, what is Atomic Habits anyway? Well, from my personal experience, Atomic Habit is the first and best book I have ever read so far, and I would recommend it to every single viewer of this video. It is a book created by James Clear and published in October 16, 2018. It is all about how to destroy bad habits and replace them with good habits. It also talks about a concept called systems, which we'll talk about later in the video. Just to show you what I'm saying, here's a quote from the book. It reads, "Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement." Well, you might be asking, why would it be good for developers? Well, the answer is simple. Understanding your habits and how your identity shapes them helps with every aspect of your life. In fact, I've used and helped others use the principles from this book to improve their fitness, mental health, and overall academic performance. But most importantly, I've used the principles to shift my life from one of a lazy person who struggled to focus and did not know why he could not stay consistent on his goals to what I would call a pretty dramatic shift in focus, self-improvement, and overall health. You also might be asking, what are habits and what in the world are systems? A habit is simply a task you do repetitively that requires little to no motivation to carry out. These habits compound into results over time, either negatively or positively. On the other hand, systems are the measures you take to get to a certain outcome. For example, if I am trying to become more muscular, a habit would be to work out, but a system would be the collection of habits such as cold exposure, working out, better sleep, less stress, and better eating, all in one cumulative effort to become more muscular. Habits, according to the author of the book, are broken down into 4 steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. A cue is a simple signal to the brain from anything that a reward can be reached. Then the brain creates a craving for the reward. As a result, an action is performed, which is the habit. Once the action has been done, you receive a reward for what you were craving. You can think of the first 3 as necessary for any behavior to occur, and the fourth as necessary for any behavior to be repeated. You can also divide these 4 steps into 2 phases: a problem phase, which includes the cue and the craving, and a solution phase, which includes the response and reward. Once you recognize that all your habits are broken down like this, it is easier to attack them both efficiently and effectively. Enough talking about the book. Let's see some ways we could act on the information regardless of your level. First, I'm going to focus on tactics to destroy bad habits, and then I'll speak about how to create good ones. To destroy any bad habit, you must first make the cues for the bad habits invisible by reducing your exposure to the cues in your environment. Second, you must make the craving unattractive by reframing your mindset into realizing that it is more beneficial to avoid the bad habit. Third, you must make the action difficult by increasing the friction of the action itself. You can increase friction by increasing the number of steps you need to take to do the habit. You can also use commitment devices, which are basically actions you take now to increase the probability you will perform or don't perform an action later. Finally, you must make the reward unsatisfying and painful. This can be done by having an accountability partner, like a gym partner or a friend of yours that watches over your behavior when you need it the most. James Clear also talks about the concept of a habit contract, which is basically a signed contract you have with someone else stating that if you perform or don't perform a certain habit or system, that you would have to pay them some sort of fee. By the way, get very creative with the fee if you're going to implement a habit contract. Taking all of this into account, the first step you could do is make a big list of all your habits throughout your day, from the smallest habits to the biggest ones. Jot them down in order and label them with their times. Once you have done that, you can add a plus sign on the left-hand side of the habit if it's a good habit an equal sign if it's a bad habit, and a minus sign if it's a bad one. Once you have identified your daily bad habits, you see which ones you should eliminate first and go through the process I said earlier on how to eliminate them. Once you have eliminated about 80% of your daily bad habits, you can start to build better habits to replace the bad ones. To start and keep a good habit, you need to do the exact opposite of all the steps to eliminate bad habits. This is where you start implementing the actual self-improvement habits. If you are a dev, you can allocate 1 hour a day to programming without any real goal, just the goal of learning something new at a surface level. But before you get to this 1 hour a day, you could start by doing the programming or research for 5 to 10 minutes. This might seem like it won't do anything, but once you get into the habit of doing it for 5 to 10 minutes daily, you can increase it to 20 minutes and so on. Another thing you can do is to work out. If your goal is to lose weight, you can start with a 5-minute walk daily and eventually scale up to 30 minutes daily. If you want to gain muscle mass, you could do one bodybuilding workout a week that lasts 30 minutes, which can literally be you trying to do different exercises with proper form to see which one you feel is the best. After you get into the habit of weekly workouts, scale up to 2, and eventually you get to your goal of how many workouts you want with the intensity needed to grow your muscles. You should obviously research about how to structure your diet, workouts, and how to perform exercises with proper form so you don't injure yourself. But when starting out, just focus on showing up and not hurting yourself. Finally, if you want to eat cleaner, you can start off by cutting out the small things, for example, the little snacks you eat when you pass by them at any given occasion. You could do this by hiding them, not buying them, and by getting into the mindset that you don't need to eat them when you pass by them. The next step after that could be tracking your calories. This doesn't need to be something that takes 30 minutes every single day. Starting out, you could do this for about 2 to 5 minutes. This habit is not really for the calories itself, but for you to be more conscious about what you eat. The next step, which is what most people think is the first step, is getting a meal plan and applying it to their lives. The general advice I would give is that if you're starting out, meal plans, in my opinion, are not as effective as other means for weight loss goals. But what I would do if I was starting out is I would get a pretty lenient meal plan, nothing too strict, and progress as I continue. The overall message I'm trying to tell you is that many times what we need is to get started with a habit. Usually it's not the knowledge about the habit, it's just showing up that matters. But remember, take everything I say with a grain of salt because again, why would you listen to me anyways? With that out of the way, thanks for watching. I hope this is giving you value in some way. Like, subscribe, and comment.